I officially quit Lost Ark back in April just after clearing Brel hard. I simply had no motivation to play as I completed my goal and it didn't look like the game was moving in a healthy direction. Recently it was brought to my attention that Lost Ark has moved forward and actually improved quite a bit by releasing all the Korean quality of life changes that change a lot of things when it comes to homework and playtime. With the new raids, content and class balance patch, I had to check it out for myself and hopefully answer the question, is Lost Ark worth coming back for? When starting out the game, I was greeted by the new, really vibrant and colorful login screen. Logged onto my main sharpshooter and after closing all the pop-outs, I immediately noticed that I had unclaimed things in my product inventory. Some of it was for the new Jumpstart server, but the rest was a lot of compensation stuff. I guess maintenance for big patches are still heavily delayed, considering how many maintenance compensation packs are being given out. After claiming and using everything, I went straight into Chaos Dungeon, as some notable changes have been made to make it faster and smoother. And it was exactly that. Mobs were spawning faster, I had super armor, so mobs couldn't knock me down or interrupt my skills, and it did feel like I was clearing it faster. A thing called Fate Ember was also introduced to Chaos Dungeons and Guardian raids, which is an RNG drop that can give really high rewards. On my second Chaos Dungeon run it dropped and gave me 2 million silver. Not bad, I guess. Next I queued for the new Sonaval Guardian raid, which now you only needed to do one time per day. Huge change to decreasing amount of homework as it only took about 5 minutes. I really like the new content list UI, where you can see all the daily and weekly raids available, but also other content that can be done weekly or daily, like Adventure Island, Chaos Gate, Field Bosses, Ebony Cube and so on. Since my Deathstrike build was outdated, I needed to swap all of my accessories. And when you're making a build, the first thing you do is try to get your ability stone ready first. I already had a 8-7 Keen Blunt Grudge stone, but I thought it was now or never that I'll try to go for a 9-7 stone. I told myself if I get a 9-7 stone, I'll come back to Lost Ark fully and start grinding again. Since Amazon compensation gifts showered me with Fions, I had about 400 of them ready to spend on getting a 9-7 stone. After many failed stones and some stupidly banned RNG, this stone was looking like it would hit. But as luck would have it, it just simply wasn't enough. Getting this close, I wasn't going to stop, and not even 5 stones later, I got another chance at the 9-7, which unfortunately missed again at a 55% chance. I was happy with the 8-7 stone for my new build, so I went ahead and bought 5 new accessories, spending around 140,000 gold. Tested the new build in Trixion, swapped some runes and tripods, and learned the new rotation so I can be ready for the raids. I was happy to notice that they reverted the Silver Master gauge generation to instant instead of overtime generation. Deathstrike Sharpshooter now feels really smooth, fluid and responsive, while having a decent damage output. Lastly, with RNG kinda on my side, I tried getting higher quality on my weapon. It was already at 86, but I felt it would hit with 1% chance. And it did. It wasn't 100% quality, but I'll take 97, a 0.2% chance isn't going to happen anytime soon. I did notice that Yoz's jar had finally made an appearance. It seems like Lost Ark revenue streams have been getting tight for Amazon, so despite all the backlash they received initially, they decided in the end to put it in the game after all, knowing it is the literal definition of pay to win. Having a full legendary set will give you an 8% increase in power, but you will end up spending a lot to get it. Just for the experiment, I tried my own luck and of course got a random purple weapon that I ended up dismantling. Ever since the days of having Argos gear, my favorite weapon skin was exactly the white Argos weapon skin. It is the same weapon skin that is in the Yoz's jar, it only has its own glow. I learned that now you can craft any weapon skin that exists in the game, so I went straight ahead and used my 14 cloth to craft a white Argos weapon skin. Changed the colors of my red knight skin to white so I can match it with my weapon, and my sharpshooter looks smooth and clean. It looked like it came straight from the Southern Solar Knights recruitment camp. With the new build and the new look, it was time for Legion raids. Relshaza Hard mode has received changes by removing gates 2 and 5 completely. This was very much needed as these two gates caused the most jails and were very time consuming. Most groups were looking for a gate 1 to gate 3 re-clear without any other requirements, so I quickly joined one. It was super fast and actually fun when you one-tap all 3 gates. It literally took 15 minutes to complete. But then the problems began. Since now you can't swap from doing gate 1 to gate 3 hard, then going for gate 4 in normal, I was kinda forced to hope I'd find a group. 95% of Gate 4 hard groups were a heavy gatekeep, all of them asking for a 10x achievement, which I didn't have since I only cleared it once before quitting. Despite knowing mechanics and having more than adequately geared character, I was repeatedly either denied or kicked after they found out I didn't have 10x achievement. Oh, and trust me, they make sure you join their stronghold and link it there, otherwise you get kicked instantly. Not really a good look for the game when these types of gatekeeping problems still exist. How are new and returning players supposed to do these raids, where the standard is to have 10x achievement, or you are forced into a learning party that struggles to find 2 supports for 3 hours straight? There is very rarely an in-between. Luckily, after about an hour, I was accepted into a re-clear group and it was one tap. This was one of the biggest issues I had with the Lost Ark that caused me to quit, and it's sad to see that it's still present. You will always end up in one of the 3 scenarios. Either you will be rejected to the point you just give up, you will get accepted into a group that won't find a support for 3 hours, or you will finally enter the raid and you end up with someone failing the mechanics and wiping the raid, causing major time wasting. With my main, I rarely had these problems, but trying to do any raid on item level on my alts was a complete waste of time, which caused me to quit. With Brel out of the way, I wanted to revisit old Legion raids like Kakul, Vaikas and Valtan, trying to help Mokokos out. I was surprised when I saw that Mokokos were players who were 1540 item level and having full level 7 gems and 5x3, but then I realized that the Hyper Express event pretty much gives you all of these, which is great for new players. They get to go straight into the fun part of the game relatively fast and decide if it's worth their time or not. Kakul was a breeze of how easy it was. Vaikas had gate 1 removed, so it was only gate 2 and gate 3, which was a huge improvement with a lot of mechanics nerfed to the point where they don't wipe you when failing. And Valtan was also super fast and super easy. I was honestly impressed and surprised that these 1540 Mokokos knew mechanics confidently. Nobody made mistakes and they were all playing like Korean veterans. With these 4 Legion raids out of the way, it was time to explore some other content that received some changes. I was missing few skill points to complete the build, so I went to finish the tower. Honestly, it was pretty straightforward, at certain survival stages a bit annoying and too long with few unfortunate fails. But overall decently fast considering I was overgearing it until the last few floors. I had a few extra ebony cube tickets, so I quickly ran through them. It is amazing how much time this change is saving, knowing you don't have to do the classic cube and boss rush anymore. It was then time for the new field boss in Algacia, which is 1580 item level and he was hitting pretty hard. But having a big zerg of players, it dies pretty fast. I was surprised that the highest Chaos Gate was still 14-15 item level and nothing really changed. He dropped a legendary map, did a quick run with the boys, and waited for the ghost ship, which also stayed at 1490 item level with no change to rewards or the actual content. Lastly, I did a Mokoko collecting event in hopes I will get a lot of gold, but ended up with 15 gold. I guess I spent all my RNG on ability stones and weapon quality. I had to leave Kayangel hard and Akkan and normal for the last, as I wasn't able to find a learning party that had supports and nobody wanted to take me since everyone was looking for 10x achievement after 3 weeks of Akkan being out. Imagine being a dweeb like those people. Luckily, few people from my old static were still actively playing, so they took me on a learning run, where they were explaining mechanics on the fly and calling for stuff I needed to do and pay attention. I haven't watched guides, I haven't read guides, and I didn't even have a cheat sheet open. Kayangel hard was pretty straightforward. I needed to use one of my selection legendary packs to grab time mine cards so I can reap the benefits of having holy damage reduction, as I was getting hit hard without it. Kayangel also had gate 1 removed, which saves a lot of time. The whole raid was done in about an hour and it was honestly the best learning experience, just doing it on the fly and listening to the calls. Akkan and normal was pretty much the same. They recruited 4 people from the party finder, gave me an easy task to do during mechanics and called out every mechanic before it happened and reminded me what I needed to do. I was using this opportunity to learn normal attacks and patterns, while I will try next week to ask for a different task during mechanics so I can get used to everything. Overall experience 100% beats what Belshazzar normal and hard were on release. It doesn't make sense how these 2 raids literally went down in difficulty compared to Belshazzar, but went up in fun and enjoyment you get from doing them. Maybe Akkan hard actually is more difficult than Belshazzar hard, but I have a long road ahead of me before I get there. After finishing both of those raids, there wasn't anything else I needed or wanted to check out. The final verdict. Is Lost Ark worth coming back for? Has to be, for me, currently, no. The reason why is not because the game is bad or it's going in the wrong direction. That part is completely fine. The issues that I had before I quit are still present. From the perspective of new and returning players, it's not worth coming back, as the issues that cause all these people to quit are still there. The shortage of supports at lower level raids, the shortage of players willing to do learning raids, the immense amount of gatekeeping from hardcore veterans who only care if you have 10x achievements for the content that has been out for 2 weeks, the reliance on alts to help you progress your main character, and the gatekeeping you will witness once you try raiding on your alts. If I didn't contact my old static, I honestly would have uninstalled the game and never even tried Kayangel or Akkan, due to inability to find a group. I don't have 12 hours a day I can spend playing Lost Ark and patiently waiting to get a group. I want to log in, apply to a raid, be accepted, and finish the raid in a reasonable amount of time, otherwise it is not worth it. Right now I plan to only play daily on my main character and see how much and if I can even progress with one character. Anyways, I appreciate you watching till the end. Let me know your thoughts if Lost Ark is worth coming back for in the comments. Stay safe and check out some of my other videos appearing on the screen.